Climate-smart agriculture expert Dr. Oliver has observed that the need for more funding towards the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment so that it can meet its obligations on the climate crisis. Dr. notes that there is a rampant destruction of the ecosystem due to unsustainable agricultural practices, industrialization, charcoal burning, and brick-making enterprises, among others. He says some districts have no forest reserves, which is a threat to the livelihoods of people themselves because human beings depend on the biodiversity for survival. Dr. says the ministry hosts important units such as the meteorological, climate, and forestry departments, which require adequate operational budgets among the resources to carry out monitoring and sensitization meetings and other obligations countrywide. He says the threat of climate change affects all the sectors of the world economies. Hence, more funding for more interventions and policy directions are needed to reverse this trend. Dr. explained that government and the private sector have a huge responsibility to reverse the escalating effects of climate change, which can be done through concerted efforts by all stakeholders.
Of green economy and environment requires more funding to meet its obligations on climate crisis. Look at the rampant destruction of the ecosystem due to unsustainable agricultural practices, industrialization, charcoal burning, brick making, and other enterprises that are ravaging, the biodiversity. Some districts this time around, they have no forest reserve to talk about, and this is a threat to the livelihoods of the people themselves because for survival, human beings depend on the ecosystem. The Ministry of Green Economy hosts very important units such as the meteorology, climate, and also forestry. These units, in some cases, requires adequate operational budgets.
Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary in charge of Educational Services, Joel Kamoko, has reaffirmed government's commitment in the work of UNESCO to transform lives and drive sustainable development. Mr. Kamoko made the remarks when he delivered the national policy statement to the 42nd session of the General Conference of UNESCO, taking place at the organization's headquarters in Paris, France. He commended the Director General of UNESCO, Audrey Azoulay, on her positive global efforts in building a vibrant UNESCO and highlighted significant milestones that Zambia has achieved in the fields of education, science, culture, communication, and information. Mr. Kamoko says Zambia is making curriculum reforms in light of the Transforming Education Summit call for action to accelerate national and global efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 4 of ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. The Permanent Secretary called for support and collaborative linkages in digital transformation in education as the country finalizes the ICT policy, which is a pivotal